guys, welcome to today's video. So as you can tell by the title, today's video is how to get a teaching job in South Korea during the pandemic and also with no teaching experience, or how I got my job here in South Korea with literally no teaching experience, and also during the pandemic. So very simple, straight to the point. I will be talking all about the process, how long it took me to get this job, and I also want to make a video of my experience teaching here, but I think I'll leave that for another time because I could literally make a whole video about that. So let's just jump right into how to get the job here. So number one, you do need to have some qualifications, but that literally just means having a bachelor's degree from an English-speaking country. The main ones I know is like the United States, Canada, South Africa, UK, Australia, etc. If you want to know more like specifics, I would recommend checking out the Hi Korea website. I think that's where they have more information regarding what countries, but it does have to be an English-speaking country where you get your degree from. So that's the first step. So I'll be talking mainly based on my experience and how it all went for me, but this is very typical for anybody else that goes through this process. And even though I applied during the whole situation with the pandemic, I feel like my experience went pretty normal, and I was applying during the time where COVID was still pretty serious, and it's still serious now. And yeah, so let's jump into the timeline. So I actually have here in this folder, while I was applying and trying to get a job, I documented everything. I was working at an office job, so I had a lot of time on my hands, and I literally documented everything. So it all starts in May 2021 when I graduated college. Literally, I started this process a week before graduating, or the week of graduating. I knew what I wanted to do, which was come to Korea and teach. And yeah, so I graduated May 3rd. I thought it was the 4th, I don't know why. May 3rd I graduated, and then by May 6th I already had my first interview with a recruiter. So I was already looking on websites. The main websites were Dave's ESL and KoreaBridge.com. Those are the only two websites I used to find my teaching job. So I want to make that clear that those were the only two websites that I used to find my teaching job. So I had my interview, and so I graduated on Monday. On Friday, I had my interview with a recruiter. A lot of the recruiters were mainly asking me if I had the main things which was my university degree, obviously a photo and resume, and criminal background check, but they all had to be apostilled. So my university degree had to be apostilled and my criminal background check had to be apostilled. So I had my university degree, but I still didn't have it with me because I had just graduated, and it takes like a few weeks for them to even send it to you, even through like e-copy. So I didn't have anything, let's just say that. I just had my word that I graduated and that everything was, going to happen. So I already had made an appointment to get my fingerprints taken for the criminal background check. And this whole thing is the very basics that you need for a teaching job here in Korea. Also, this applies to Hagwon teaching jobs, okay? Not an EPIK teacher, so I cannot speak for EPIK. I know their process can be kind of similar, but there's other stuff that you might need for that. So only for Hagwon teachers. So on the 10th of May, which was the next week, Monday, I sent my fingerprints. And then the next day I sent my e-degree. So I requested to have my e-degree. I even emailed my school like, hey, I need my degree. I'm gonna be teaching abroad, blah, blah, blah. So then on Tuesday, I sent my e-degree to get apostilled because they said they could accept that. By Saturday, that same month, I got a contract from the school I'm with right now. So everything moved pretty fast. The school, I did my research, so I didn't find the school on Dave's ESL because the main thing that I didn't want was to go through recruiters, because the recruiters, it's just different. When you talk to the school directly, I think it's better and you can negotiate more. So when I was talking to the recruiters, they didn't even want to bother with me because they're like, you don't even have anything apostilled. Like, they wanted somebody that had already everything, and I didn't have everything, but I was gonna do it, and I think they just couldn't trust me with that or something. So when I contacted the school I'm with right now, that I found them on careerbridge.com, I pretty much told them like, hey, I just graduated, blah, 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 but I have everything and I'm gonna get my stuff apostilled and I'm applying from the US. And they were down to hire me with all that and wait. So I told them this is when I can start, which was August. And I said, I believe I'll have everything by then because I'm doing everything pretty quickly. Yeah, so they sent over the contract. I had my interview that same week. And then on Monday I said yes, so I sent the contract over saying yes. And then Monday the 17th. So if you are keeping track, same month, everything's going down in that same month. And then by Wednesday that week, on the 19th, I submitted my FBI background check. I'm guessing to get apostilled June. Yeah, so they were pretty much telling me that what's taking time was because of COVID, it was taking time to get the FBI background check apostilled. So they told me it could take up to 3 weeks, so I did have to wait quite some time for that. And then on June 15th, got my FBI apostilled in the mail. And then I had to gather all my documents. I already had my apostilled university degree. I had my apostilled background check by June the 16th. And then I gathered everything because I needed to send it over to Korea so that they could send it to the immigration office for my visa, etc. So yeah, this is the I think the hardest part isn't really, I'm sorry if I'm going too fast also, like the hardest part isn't getting the job in my opinion. The hardest part is waiting for everything. It just takes time, especially with COVID right now. Everything's taking 10 times longer or 3 times longer. My package that I sent over to Korea arrived on the 23rd of the June, so I paid for expedited shipping. Then let's go to July. I believe I sent over the stuff and then the school needs to get back to you with, so once you send over your documents to your school, the school sends it to immigration and then immigration gives them a visa number. So by July 14th, I got my visa number, and then on the 15th, I sent in my visa application to my nearest consulate, which was in Los Angeles. So that is the last step to getting everything settled, and you get your visa and boom, you can book your ticket. I waited to book my ticket because I didn't want to book my ticket before I knew what was going on. And then for the visa application, I think it's taking 10 business days. So yeah, I sent in my visa application. My contract said it had started August 2nd, but that was obviously not the case because of quarantine and stuff. So I got to Korea on August 4th, and then I had to quarantine for 2 weeks. So you gotta keep that in mind. You might have to quarantine for 10 days now instead of 14 days. And I quarantined for 14 days and I started my work in like the middle of August. So the whole process took exactly like around 3 months for me to get my visa, get my job and everything. So if you're applying to be a teacher in Korea, keep in mind it might take around 3 months. And during that time I was working, I was saving money to come to Korea because obviously like you're coming to a new country, like you won't have any. I wanted to make sure I had money saved for Korea. I also needed to save money for my ticket because your school does pay for your ticket, or they should pay for your ticket. They really don't pay for it beforehand. At least they didn't with me. They give it in my first paycheck. So yeah, keep in mind that you won't get paid until a month later, technically almost 2 months later. So have money saved for at least 2 months that you'll be here without getting paid. It took me 3 months in total for the whole application process, and that was during the pandemic. I really think that it's not a hard thing to do. In the moment it feels hard because it's so annoying waiting and sending in your documents, especially I didn't live close to a place where I could do my fingerprints, so I had to travel to like the city because I live in a small town and I had to travel like 3 hours away to do that. And then yeah, so it's a very long process, but it's so worth it at the end. Once you get your visa number and everything, like you're gonna feel so relieved. I remember like my friends would always ask me like, oh, so what's going on? Like I would be like, oh wait, there's more, like there's more I have to do. And I also had to pay a lot for shipping. Like they charged me so much for shipping to send in. I paid almost $80 to send the documents, so it is some money that you have to spend. I also paid like, I don't remember how much it was to get my criminal background check apostilled, but I did it through Monument Visa. So if you're looking for a great place to get something apostilled, I recommend Monument Visa. Very good, very nice. 10 out of 10 recommend. I did the Hagwon route, especially because I needed to be, I wanted to get to Korea as soon as possible. If you're wondering why, if you've never seen my videos, I pretty much came here obviously because like I like Korea, but like my significant other is from Korea. I needed to be in Korea as soon as possible. And I also wanted to choose where to live. I didn't like that with Epic. I couldn't really choose where to live. I didn't really, like it wasn't a guarantee I was going to be placed exactly where, and I wanted to know where and like the city and like location, everything. I wanted to know where I was going to be located, so that's why I chose this route. I just wanted more flexibility in that. It's been like 6 months that I've been working at my current job. I can for sure make a video of my experience teaching here in Korea if you're really interested in knowing how it is working at a Hagwon, like a private academy. If you're not sure what Hagwon means, it's pretty much a private academy. The process went by super fast, but you also have to be very diligent. I think mine took only 3 months because I was super fast. I pretty much was on it. I was wasting no time. Like I was just breathing, thinking this whole thing. Like I was like, I need to get to Korea, I need to do this, I need to do that. The moment I graduated, I was looking for a job. You can do like the recruiter route. I would say do both. Talk to the school and also talk to recruiters. I talked to some recruiters and there were some that sent me some schools, but they were sending me schools like in Busan, but it was like the outskirts of Busan. And I don't know if they thought I was dumb, but I was like, sir, like no, I know where I want to be. I want to be more centralized. I think you should for sure do your research when you're applying to your jobs here. Literally look up the location, see where you're gonna be, because you don't want to come here and then be like, where am I? I'm literally in the middle of nowhere. So it might say Busan, but you're like super far away from everything. That's how pretty much I got my job here in Korea as an English teacher with no experience. My degree is in business entrepreneurship. I didn't do the TEFL. Is it TEFL? Why do I get confused? TESOL? TEFL? I think TEFL is for Korean. TESOL. I didn't do the TEFL certificate because like, I just knew that I'm not going to be teaching for my full-time career. And since I am applying to a Hagwon job, a lot of these Hagwon jobs are not even requiring you to have that certificate. And even if you have that certificate, they're literally paying you the same as someone that doesn't have a certificate. I was like, I'm not gonna waste my time. I'm not trying to do this forever. It's only for like a season in my life. I don't want to spend money and time on it. So I didn't. If you plan on doing this maybe for a long term, do it. But if you're just here for a good time, not a long time, I don't know. I wouldn't get it, especially for Hagwons. Unless you're trying to do Epic, then I think you need that. For Epic, I think you do. I'm not sure, don't quote me on that. I think you need that or teaching experience, which I'm already getting the teaching experience. So a lot of these jobs, either some of them might be like, we want you to have the certificate or teaching experience. So either way, fine, either or. But yeah, I didn't invest in that because, like I said, I'm not trying to do this for a long time. And I just know I can get jobs here in Korea without it. Take it with a little grain of salt. I feel like it went by super fast, but I hope it's helpful. You just need to make sure you get your degree. Those are the main things that take time. They literally take time. You need to graduate from college, okay? I have never heard of anybody with an associate's degree do this. That was my experience. For me, it was not hard. I think a lot of people would think that like, oh, there's less jobs hiring outside of Korea, but I'm gonna be honest, jobs are still hiring outside of Korea. I was looking for jobs. So many of them said that they were willing to hire somebody outside of Korea. So yeah, and even right now, because I'm not staying with my current school, I'm changing schools, I still saw jobs that were willing to sponsor visas, willing to bring someone from outside of Korea, pay for flight tickets, etc. So if you're interested in applying to a Hagwon job, the market is open. I think the main, like the biggest hiring seasons is March and May. March for sure. I really hope you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful. I feel like it was super fast. And if you want me to make that video about my teaching experience here, let me know and I would gladly do that. I'll be making more videos about my experience here in Korea, teaching and all of that, and how it's all going. So I hope you enjoyed. Bye!